Why doesn't NCARB provide a breakdown of a passing grade in an exam? I suspect that to pass an a.r.e. you don't need level 1 performance in each category, depending on how you perform on the other categories. Is it possible that you score a level 2 in one category and level 1s in all the others? What do you think? So there is actually quite a bit to say about this. I'm only going to touch on it briefly because it starts getting into a lot of sort of statistical numbers and things. The gist of the situation is the current version right now is you have 3 categories, one of which is passing, 2 of which are not passing. One of the not passing is very close to the edge, and the other one is you really didn't pass. The issue there is, let's say there's 4 categories, and let's say of the 4 categories, you got 3 1s. So 3 passing, but then you got 1 that was either a 2 or a 3, so didn't pass. And then you didn't pass the overall exam. You're like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. I got 3 1s, and then on this 1 out of the 4, I got a non-passing. Like that doesn't make any sense. I should have passed that. Well, maybe, but maybe not, because it kind of depends. You know, the passing doesn't say you passed by a lot. It just says you passed. If you passed just barely on all 3 of those, and the one that you got the non-passing on was maybe like it was divided into these 4 categories, but maybe that one category was actually 50% of the questions. Like there's different categories, and some are larger and some are smaller. So you may have not passed on the biggest category. So it's actually, they've kind of decided this isn't terribly useful for people, but it is the way that they're doing it now. So 4.0 is going to stay like this. But under 5.0, they're actually going to change it. So in 5.0, there'll be 2 passing categories. There'll be 1, 2, where 1 is totally passed, 2 is passed but close to the edge, and then there'll be 2 failing categories, 3 and 4. So 3 close to the edge, but failing, and then 4 completely blew that one. So presumably that one extra category will make it easier to sort of understand you know, really where you fit into that as a process. Okay, now I'm going to say the heretical thing. I know this is super important to people. I know it's crazy when you think you should have passed something and you didn't. I actually wouldn't really focus too much on those things. I think there's so many reasons why you can pass or not pass an exam that I would just choose to think of taking the exam as a learning experience. Take what you can get out of, like, how did it feel to answer the questions, what felt like you were doing it right, what felt like was a problem, and then just take it again. You know, I know it costs money, but it's really not a big deal. Other than the money, it's really not a big deal to take it again. No future employer is going to know you took something 3 times, something like that. It doesn't matter. It's a good way to get to know the exam just by taking it. And people are always asking me, well, how many do I need to pass in order to pass? And the answer is pass as many of them as you can. You know, I know it's easy for me to say and harder to hear. I just don't think it's a useful way of spending your time kind of going through it. In specific situations, I see why you might want to know, like, all right, I seem to get passing grades in all of these issues, but then there's this one area that I always have a problem in. I should spend more time on that. That's what those numbers are useful for. I wouldn't worry about it in terms of anything other than that.